Hezbollah released footage showing what it claims is an Almas anti-armor guided missile striking an Israeli Merkava tank in Albayda, southern Lebanon. The video appears to show the missile impacting an armored vehicle near a built-up area. The extent of damage has not been independently verified. Israel has not commented on the specific incident. But the Almas missile is not a relic from a previous era. It is an advanced, precision-guided anti-tank system that Hezbollah has been deploying with increasing frequency, particularly against armored targets. Each time footage like this surfaces, it does two things. It demonstrates capability to audiences watching in Beirut, Tehran, and Washington. And it tells Israeli tank crews operating in southern Lebanon that every road, every clearing, and every position near a building is a potential kill zone. In a separate release, Hezbollah published footage it said showed missile launches at an Israeli military base in the occupied Syrian Golan Heights. The group said the strikes were part of ongoing operations against Israeli military positions across multiple fronts. The Golan dimension is the detail that changes the picture. Southern Lebanon is the expected front. The Golan is a second axis. Hezbollah is telling Israel that the war is not confined to one border. It extends to every piece of territory where Israeli forces are deployed. The base Hezbollah named sits in occupied territory that Syria still claims. A strike there is not just a military operation. It is a political statement about whose territory this is and who can reach it. The weapons are evolving faster than the defenses designed to stop them. According to the Times of Israel, Hezbollah is increasingly turning to first-person view drones, FPV drones, to target Israeli forces in southern Lebanon. These are not conventional surveillance drones. They are guided in real time, often through fiber optic cables that make them immune to electronic jamming. They fly low, fast, and strike with the precision of a guided missile at a fraction of the cost. Recently released footage showed these explosive-laden drones slamming directly into Israeli tanks and armored vehicles, bypassing the defensive systems designed to intercept rockets and missiles from above. What once required heavy artillery can now be done with a device small enough to fit in a backpack. Defense reporting has drawn direct comparisons to the Russia-Ukraine war, where FPV drones became one of the conflict's defining weapons: cheap, adaptable, and lethal. The same kind of low-cost drone warfare that reshaped eastern Ukraine is now showing up in southern Lebanon against one of the region's most heavily armored militaries. For Israeli troops on the ground, the threat is constant. The IDF has reported multiple injuries linked to drone strikes as forces push deeper into contested territory. Hezbollah experimented with these drones before the current war, but their use is now expanding rapidly. The battlefield is evolving in real time, and the side with the cheaper weapon is adapting faster than the side with the expensive one. The human cost of that adaptation is visible in the casualty reports. 4 Israeli soldiers were killed in fighting with Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. Captain Noam Madmoni, Staff Sergeant Ben Cohen, Sergeant Liran Ben Zion, Staff Sergeant Maxim Entis. Ben Zion was killed by an anti-tank missile. His funeral was held in the central town of Holon. His mother spoke at the burial. "Enough already. Enough of these funerals. Enough of this pain. Children lying here in the ground. What are all these lives worth? What is life worth? Enough of wars. Please make peace already." Those words carry the weight of every war that has ever been fought. But they were spoken on Passover week, in a war that the government says is going well, by a mother burying a son who was killed by the kind of weapon Hezbollah is now deploying in greater numbers every day. Dozens of soldiers were reported wounded over a 24-hour period. Israeli reporting puts the death toll from the Lebanon ground offensive at roughly 10 since early March, with the number rising as the fighting deepens. Israeli hospital admissions have continued to climb, with the total number treated since the war began now running into the thousands. The casualty burden appears to be rising as Israeli forces push deeper into more heavily prepared terrain. Early in the ground campaign, the daily wounded counts appeared lower than what recent reporting now suggests. If that trend continues upward, it would suggest Israeli forces are pushing into terrain where Hezbollah's defensive preparations are deeper, more layered, and more lethal. The troops are advancing into the kill zones that Hezbollah spent years building, and the kill zones are now equipped with weapons that did not exist in Hezbollah's arsenal during the 2006 war. The wounded are arriving from every type of engagement simultaneously. Israeli military reporting has described injuries from rockets, drones, and anti-tank fire arriving in quick succession. Each weapon type forces Israel to defend differently. Rockets require Iron Dome. Drones require short-range air defense or small arms. Anti-tank missiles require dispersal and cover. Hezbollah is not fighting with one weapon. It is fighting with a layered system designed to ensure that no single defensive posture covers everything. The back-to-back nature of the incidents points to sustained pressure rather than isolated engagements. Israel is responding across multiple domains. The IDF said its strikes across southern Lebanon killed more than 40 Hezbollah operatives and hit dozens of sites linked to the group. Figures Hezbollah has not independently corroborated. The Air Force struck command centers, weapons depots, rocket launchers, and anti-tank missile positions. The Navy targeted a weapons depot. On the ground, the 91st Galilee Division struck a Hezbollah cell. The 36th Division directed a strike on operatives on motorcycles. Israeli military reporting said the 146th and 162nd Divisions destroyed weapons and infrastructure. With multiple Israeli divisions operating in southern Lebanon, this no longer looks like a limited border action. It looks like a major ground campaign. And the campaign is producing results by Israel's account, more than 40 killed in a day, but also dozens wounded in the same window. The advance is contested at every meter.
It's quite clear that the United States and the Zionist regime are using the facilities of countries in the region to attack Iran, and under such circumstances, international law and the right to legitimate defense allow us to target the source and origin of these aggressions in defense of ourselves. Just in the past few days, there have been reports that American fuel tankers are operating at bases in Saudi Arabia. Neighboring countries face the same situation. Our demand is clear. We expect regional nations under international law to stop the US and Zionist regime from using their territory to attack Iran. The United States and the Zionist regime are abusing the facilities and territories of these countries to attack Iran.
There is also a political initiative to end the war.
We have had no negotiations with the United States. What has happened so far is that the United States has submitted a request for negotiations along with a set of proposals which have reached us through some intermediaries, including the President of Pakistan. Our position is very clear. Right now, as the United States military aggression and attacks continue intensely, every single one of our dedicated efforts and the entirety of our available resources are fully committed and devoted to the task of defending ourselves. We do not sincerely or honestly consider these specific claims to be genuine. The information that has been conveyed to us, no matter what you want to call it, under any title you choose. Whether it's a 15-point proposal or more or less, the requests have been extremely excessive, unrealistic, and illogical. The meetings that Pakistan is holding with neighboring countries are a framework they have established themselves. We have not participated in this framework. The fact that regional countries, neighboring countries, are concerned about peace and security is, of course, a positive and welcome thing. If our membership in the treaty is supposed to be just a name on a piece of paper for us, and not only are we unable to benefit from the rights stated in it, but we are also subjected to violations and injustice, then what is the point of being a member of this document? We still remain a member of this document, and as long as we are members, we are certainly committed to fulfilling the obligations stated in it. Even more regrettable than this criminal act is the indifference of the agency and the Director General himself. In fact, for the umpteenth time, they have taken a very wrong approach regarding the aggression, specifically the military aggression of the United States and the Zionist regime against Iran's nuclear facilities, and instead of condemning the aggressors and holding them accountable. In his interviews, he uses phrases and statements that make the problems even more complicated. The countries in the region that he has traveled to are certainly smarter than to permit an individual leader who has subjected his very own nation and its people to the horrors of an incredibly violent and devastatingly destructive military conflict that has persisted relentlessly throughout the entirety of the past 4 years and has caused such tragedies for the good people of Ukraine. Permit him the opportunity to attempt to extort money from them. If a regime claims to represent the people's sovereignty, and if democracy truly matters to it, then it must certainly pay close attention to the public's demands and the needs of its citizens, and base its policies on their opinions. But unfortunately, this is not the case in America. Despite the claim that democracy and the will of the people prevail in America, we know that decisions about matters as important as war and domination are made by a small number of people within a particular circle, perhaps even in coordination with a genocidal regime in our region.